Howdy. Well, I did a video about this particular rifle once before, but it was in spectacular potato vision on my Fuji camera, which doesn't work worth spit. Well, here I've got a GoPro, so I'm going to do it again. What you're looking at is an American M1 1917, quote, Enfield, end quote. Now, the Enfield is an interesting rifle. It was, well, start at the beginning. In 1903, we had adopted basically a modified Mauser action, the Enfield. Now, this is an 03A3, but it'll do for an example. This is an Enfield. This is a Springfield 03. Well, at the beginning of World War I, in 1917, America discovered that Springfield Arsenal, or was it Rock Island, I guess, did not make enough 03s to satisfy the needs of the new army. I mean, at the time, I think we had an army of about 100 and some odd thousand, mostly going after people like Pancho Villa. Well, along comes this war in Europe, and we're part of it now. And what do? Well, we couldn't produce enough in the regular military arsenals, but all the other gun manufacturers in America were just doing contract after contract for Great Britain and France and other allies against the Axis powers, and making rifles all over the place. So somebody from the War Department went down to Remington and Winchester and said, "Hey guys, can you make us a rifle in this 03 pattern?" And they said, "Nope, we're all tooled up for other things." Well, Remington in particular had just tooled up for the pattern 1914 Enfield. And the War Department guy took a look at one of those and said, "Tell you what, could you rechamber this in 30-06? And they said, "Hey, no problem there." So they did, and they started issuing them to the troops in mass quantities because Remington and Winchester had assembly lines free. They both had tooling for this 1914 Enfield. So they just adapted them and made this. And this is called the 1917. This was the substitute standard of World War I in America. Well, the reason I'm saying all that, and with these two books sitting here, these books belong to my Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben was in World War I. He was the youngest brother of my great-grandfather. And he was later a engineer on the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad. And that's his railroad watch right there. But long before this was this. Well, this is not his rifle. I had these books. And this is the 1913 book on small arms. This is the edition that was modified for 1917. And this is your target book for 1917. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, I had these books, and I had the watch, and I thought, I sure wish I had the rifle. Well, I could never find a 1917 in good shape that I could really afford, until one day at a small gun store, a sporterized 1917 came in with a chopped stock. It looked awful, but the metal parts looked great. Well, what there was of it. Well, a cousin of mine had this stock. So I put this stock and this metal together, and then I went, what am I going to do? Well, I bought this handguard and the front one. Let's see if I can get over here. And, oh, gosh, this thing is long. I bought this, and that ring, and this cap from Numrich Arms. And I got a couple of smaller pieces. Oh yeah, this ring thing here I got, and the guard for the front sight I got from eBay. And it cobbled together a stock 1917, as it was. Granted, nothing really matches. These, by the way, were original substitute standard pieces from the U.S. Army that had been in storage forever. And Numrich Arms picked them up, and they still sat in storage at Numrich until I bought them. And they went, "Oh, good, we can make some room in our warehouse." Anyway, so I built this 1917 to honor my Uncle Ben, and just to show the kind of cool things that you can have in the family. And I inherited this watch because there was no one on his side. I'm on his older brother's side. And You know, when they were in the 1920s, they used to sit back and have a Coca-Cola on my great-granddad's porch. And my grandfather lived next door. And my dad, he knew, well, if you look at an earlier picture or an earlier video I have on the Craig Jorgensen, there's a picture of my great-grandfather and my father. My father is the baby that he's holding up in a scale. That was taken in the 1920s, a few years before my great-grandfather died. 1920s, guys. I'm kind of old, and he was much older. But I never met him, and I never met Uncle Ben. I never met anybody of that generation. But I knew my granddad's generation, and he was the youngest. He was the baby of the family. I met some of his older brothers and stuff, family reunions and the like. Anyway, this is my 1917, being photographed through a GoPro, so I hope that the video comes out just a little bit better. It shoots pretty well, by the way.